I'd like to get your take on the issue of the IPOB prescription. Perhaps let's wrap up on the issue of the budget. You have summarized what could be saved from the budget. Why is the evil so much that we see every year? The frivolity that is being identified in budget every year.
Well, it's because the system fails to learn due to entrenched interests. People have interests which they are seeking to protect. People have stuff which they seek to protect. So even if you talk from now until Jesus Christ is about to come back, they are not likely to listen. Until you have a crop and cadre of individuals in positions of authority who are reform-minded and insist on these reforms, we'll continue having this scenario. And that can only happen if Nigerians become more interested and if they make more demands, you know, on the system to be sure that their rights are protected, because what we are discussing is public funds. It's not the funds of the minister, it's not the funds of the president, it's not that of the permanent secretary or the directors or members of the National Assembly. So if we get more serious and make more demands, I believe that those in authority will listen to us, because for now, our demands are not yet pungent enough. We don't have a critical mass of citizens making these demands.
All right, quickly, if you look at what the summary of the savings, it's interesting. Refreshment and meals running to about 2 billion now. Welfare packages, oh no. Where are all these coming from? Who are those being getting these welfare packages? And where are all these refreshment and meals going to? Who are those getting all of these? You've given up 219 billion as a possible cost saving that we need to make in this 2018 budget. Can that be adhered to? Because the process of the budget is ongoing. Quickly.
It's possible for them to do the savings. In fact, what we gave is just a few instances. We did not cover everything because we have ended up reproducing 400 or 500 pages, which is quite unreadable. So these are instances which, if they follow the trajectory and save this money, they can now reprogram it. Like the police is complaining they don't have enough resources to do their work. So if you save from here, you now reprogram it to areas that are where the money is more needed. So it is doable. If the National Assembly wants to meticulously look at the budget and approve of it, they can do that.
All right. How do we go? Where do we go from here? The government said about 2 years ago or so that they are changing the budgeting system, the process of budgeting, so it is more meticulous. But we've seen the same evil in the budget, in those figures, over and yet again.
It's not what the government says that is important, it's what the government does. And that's what we are saying. Now, words don't really mean anything if it's not supported by action. We want to see action. And let me tell you something. I think people need to understand that government essentially is not about those that are in government, but about the people, okay? And even the National Assembly itself, that is supposed to play the oversight function, they are also not very transparent about their budget. Their budget is opaque. They just give you a figure. And they don't attach.
They released some details.
Yeah, they don't put.
Last year. They now attach items to it now.
Well, those details are not detailed enough for us to understand why they should budget such amount of money for themselves. What this tells you is that the system is in need of serious reforms. And like Mr. Nyekwere said, we need people who are reform-minded, you know, to bring to bear the call for transparency by the Nigerian people.
Can it happen in this budget?
Process.
Can that kind of reform happen in this budget?
Well, it depends on the members of the National Assembly. Do they have the guts to do what is right for the Nigerian people?
Okay, let's quickly touch on these because we are already out of time. IPOB remains a terrorist organization. As far as that judgment of the High Court in Abuja can tell us, that's what the situation is. What's your take on that judgment? Quickly.
Well, you know, as a lawyer, I understand that whether I disagree with the reasoning of the judge in the ruling or in the judgment, I have to abide by that judgment. And the only thing I can do is to go and appeal. And you heard the lawyer said, look, they are not taking this matter line low. They are going to the Court of Appeal so that the other justices of the Court of Appeal can look at what the judge, the Federal High Court, has done. And I think that's the right way to go about it.
Mr. Yokere, IPOB remains a terrorist organization. That's what the High Court is saying today. What's your own reaction to the judgment of today, and what do you think might be the implication of this judgment?
Well, my understanding as a lawyer is that the law says equality before the law and equal protection of the law. If the present circumstances as we see them, if the Fulani herdsmen, nobody is talking about them as terrorists, nobody is starting a process to declare them so, there is absolutely no reason in the world why the court should hold so. So I encourage my colleague to proceed on appeal to the Court of Appeal, and if the Court of Appeal rules against him, he should go ahead and go to the Supreme Court, so that we can have a final determination of the matter. But if we are discussing equality before the law and equal protection of the law, and the Fulani people who are committing mass murder, the Fulani terrorists who are committing mass murder are not terrorists, then declaring IPOB a terrorist organization will be a very cruel joke. A very cruel joke.
All right, that's perhaps where we will have to leave it today. Mr. Curtis Adigba, Mr. Eze Onyekwere, thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time on the program tonight. And that's the end of the discussion tonight on Politics Today on Channels Television. Many thanks for being part of it, everyone. I'm Sean Wakimbaloe. Bye-bye.